What's going on, model building fans? Hey, it's Brian, and we're doing sort of like the finish off for the Rust Bucket group build hosted by Mars over at Mars Garage. This is a group build that, of course, is close to my heart because a lot of you might know that I do like making things look weathered and beat up and used and such. So I really have an affinity for that. I just really enjoy that. So we're working with the Tamiya Mini Cooper. This was supposed to be the rally car kit, and unfortunately, upon getting it home and realizing we were actually missing everything that made it a rally car, including the decals, it got relegated to the garage. And then when Mars was talking about doing this group build, I thought, okay, this I think we can work with that. So I have, I'm a big Corvair fan, but before we had Corvairs, we had British cars. My dad had three Spitfires and an MG, and I remember climbing all when I was in high school, climbing all around and through, and helping my dad restore those things. And so we know our way around British cars pretty well. But yes, we call it the Rust Bucket build because that's the name of the group build. But this little mini is just more of an abandoned little guy. So um, now we purposefully left out the engine and drivetrain. I wanted it to look like it had been stripped. And I figured, maybe whoever took the engine out there just left the radiator hose, and that's been spilling out and running down the firewall and dripping on bits and stuff there. Let's see if we can get this a little bit better. Yeah, we got a wire harness that's been clipped, just sort of hanging off the back of the firewall. We have the gauges drilled out in the dash because maybe those have been pilfered. And we do have little tiny bits of leaves all around, and we made those with. I was inspired to do this by my friend Tim over at Throttle Power. He has something like this. It's just a little punch that does leaves. And I went through the yard and picked up a bunch of leaves and sat down and just started punching some stuff. And the ones that came off the lemon tree smell really good. So that was kind of cool. So we have those kind of scattered about inside the car and glued down, and then we have the castaway radiator chucked in there, and that's of course leaking too. And then we got the rear view mirror on the driver's seat. The passenger seat is lost to history. We don't know where it's at. There's the cap for the radiator right there. I actually just sliced off the little radiator cap that was on the radiator itself. And then we have a lot of weathering going on inside because we're going to have the windows open in this dude. Here's our gear lever, as they like to say, and then of course our handbrake lever. And I remember, handbrakes. Once that rubber grip sort of deteriorates and goes away, you just have the bare metal, and salty hands will start to work away on that. So I figured, yeah, it should be rusty too. And then our driver's seat, we actually used a heat gun. I have this little benchtop heat gun now, and very easy to use. Got hot, perfectly. Heated up the seat, and then just I had a glove on my hand, so it wasn't too hot. I heated up the seat and just pressed my thumb in the center of it to give it this nice looking sag here. And then I had drilled some holes around the perimeter of the seat, and then used some bare metal foil over the top of the holes. And then painted the seat as I wanted to. Came back and slit open the bare metal foil with a hobby knife, and then as they say in anatomy, reflected or peeled away some of the foil, and then stuffed in little bits of foam. Got this idea from my buddy Clifton over at Kissy Boys Customs. Excuse me for just 1 second while I dig out the actual piece of foam that I used. And this is a makeup sponge, and no, this isn't one I apply my makeup with. I have other tools for that. But this guy here, I've been using this to actually help create the look of concrete for these cinder blocks. And yeah, no, too bad. I got these cinder blocks from my buddy Louie over at the Autistic Modeler, and I want to say thank you to Louie for giving us those. That was a very nice gift on his part. But yeah, just doing the stippling thing. So I had to tear off chunks of this in order to create this irregularity, I guess is the best way to say that. And I had those chunks just sort of sitting aside, and then I was talking to Clifton about weathering interiors and stuff, and he gave me the idea because that's what he had done. So I was like, oh cripes, I got to try that. Okay, cool. So Put a little glue down inside the holes and then stuffed the foam down there and then did a little bit of, I'm so sorry that this refuses to, yes, there we go, a little bit of foam peeking out here and there. So that's what's going on there. And then we have that going on the rear seat also. And of course the seats don't match. The interior is gray with a black seat, and we have a tan rear seat back there. I figured perhaps that was a car lot find or something like that. And then the grill, that's just sort of stuck in there. I haven't really glued that in place. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do with that. But again, this back seat area here, we heated it up and then pressed our thumb into the seat cushions, and then went and did the drilling of the holes and then peeling of the seat. You know what? I'm going to try getting up close here. There we go. So those are our ruined seats, and you can see the little depression right down in there. And then the package shelf here, I thought, you know, that maybe that should be a little bit warped, like maybe there's a piece of cardboard over top of it, something like that. Put some more bare metal foil on there and then peeled it up to make it look like it's ripping. Got a leaf on there. And let's see, it's pulled back again. So that's basically the chassis and interior. I'm having a lot of fun. Oh, I also made, these are probably out of scale, and you know, I've never done it before, but I tried to make some seat sliders, like maybe that got left behind when they took the seat out. So there's that. The the running gear, I actually not going to have the front wheels on it, and I wanted it to look like it had studs sticking out. So there we go. I put a little disc of plastic over the top, over the front of that hub, and there we go. Put a disc over that, let that cure up, came back, drilled a hole in the center, and then did just did some little tiny holes, and then added some styrene rod. Um, I'm not really worried about not being able to see the threads, you know, type of thing. I know that there is threaded rod out there this size, but this is what I came up with in the drop of a hat. So I also, let's see, where is it at here? Oh yeah, I have a bit of the brake line coming out there, just sort of clipped, and then this is one solid axle going across there, and I actually cut it so that I could have just this half shaft sticking out. So we'll have that kind of prop sticking out of the chassis in the front. Like when they took the engine out, they just took the axle shafts and separated them, and just had them hanging while they lifted the engine out. And let's see here. Yeah, this is the other side, but I'm missing the back of it because that went on walkabout. So I'm probably just going to have that sitting on the ground. Now, ultimately, I do want to do a little diorama with this, with some weeds and a little bit of grass and some trash. But I don't have time for that right now. I got a lot of other things going on. I have a commission bill to get back onto. But here's the body. And I really, really like how this came out. I've been talking to my buddy Gaz the K, Gary Knight over in the UK, and he had two of these guys. So he was giving me some pointers on stuff. I still have to do a little bit more on the seam here, because he said that was a notorious place for having a lot of rust buildup both on the front and back. We have our broken safety glass in. He said that later editions of the vehicle would have had the safety glass. And I have some chunks of safety glass glued in place here, and I'm probably going to go back and then bust out some of this here once that's fully cured up and set in. Got a number plate on the back here, and I'm going to have two little wires hanging out the back for the missing light, and I should probably do that for the tail lights as well. And then I don't think I'll have the handle for the trunk in place. I drilled out a little hole for the filler cap area, and then stuck in a piece of paper towel, painted it red, got it kind of yucky looking, and then this rust is just really eating away at this poor little dude here. So there's a Grammy window. I don't know if that's too Grammy or not. I might walk that back a little bit still, but I wanted to make it look like the windows had been removed from both driver and passenger side. And then of course here's our cracked front windshield, and that looks super spiffy. And then yes, I did do a blue hood. Wanted it to be a different color than the actual body, just like, you know, somebody had been throwing parts at this little guy. And then the kit that I had was missing one of the um, headlight bezels with the reflector in the background. So, but the kit did have these gigantic blisters that are supposed to go over the headlight lens, part of the race package. So I turned it in. I didn't say I put it. I glued one to the backside and then cut it. I just scored the back of it with the hobby knife several times and then painted it silver on the backside so it looked like it was like kind of a cracked reflector or something that wasn't looking so great. So I kind of like that look actually. But yeah, I'm really digging this little dude. I'm going gangbusters on it so I can get it done, and I'm really hoping that I can get final assembly once that rear window, because I had the original kit window in there, and I decided, nah, let's put in some more safety glass. So I ripped it out, and I'm waiting for that to cure up in there. And then once we get this all together, I have to go and sprinkle some safety glass on here and then down on the seats. I think that would be a really nice touch. So there we go. So that's where we're at with this little dude. Yeah, this is a long update, but I'm kind of hoping we can get on to finishing this dude and talk about other things. All right, y'all. We'll talk to you a little bit later on. Hopefully, we'll have a final for this coming up maybe sometime beginning next week. In the meantime, y'all have a great weekend. Try and stay cool if you're going to be in the hot areas. If you're going to be in the wet areas, stay dry. Get to the high areas if you need to. Prayers are with y'all, and take it easy. We'll see you in the next one. Bye now.